Hello and welcome to another episode of UKversus. We were just live yesterday, but we're getting a double dose today. I am once again Brett Dabby Guy Pendragon, and my lovely esteemed co-host Richard Storm of Blades Plumber. We are joined today by the Oceanic Regional Champion for the first half of 2023, Adarain. I don't remember your surname, unfortunately. And we have Pippa of Pippa Ponders, but they are currently AFK. So let's. How are you, Addy? And introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Adrian. I am from New Zealand. I started the game back in June or July last year, and I've been playing with my partner Young Choi. We started off playing because the prizes sounded really good for the Oceanic RLE, and if you brought a friend who was new to the game, you could get a free box of set 5. So we joined, and we were each other's new person to the game. But we ended up doing quite well in that tournament, so just continue to play.
That's a bit of an understatement. You were both the finalists, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
We did okay.
And Young has gone on to get a qualification for the HLC as well, which is absolutely amazing. And I assume you'll be joining him in 2 weeks?
Yes, I'll be going as well. We'll be going to Disney World and Universal Studios, and I'll be doing the LCQ as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's absolutely. I'm be absolutely rooting for you to get in for the LCQs, because it'd be great to play against you that isn't on TTS.
Yeah, we need to play in real life at some point.
Yeah, so Young and Addy were a big part of my NATS training program with. If anyone wants to know how I handled overhauls so well in the top cuts, it's all down to Addy and Young just running me through a ringer for quite a lot.
Yeah, it was really good practice against your midnight, and thankfully we didn't play any midnights because we both lost a lot versus you.
It was very, very close. You guys handled the control aspect really well, and it was absolutely good to see. And again, thanks for the Oceanic footage that you took for me for the show while you had your round 1 bye.
Oh yeah, that's all good. Yeah, there weren't as many people as the other nationals.
Oh yeah,
so it was easy to go around the room.
The US Nats are like
behind the UK one, right? I mean, we had what? I think it was about 80 odd.
Yeah, low 80s. I think Oceania had not too many less than that.
Yeah, it was in the
60 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then US just absolutely trashed us at over 400.
I'm back, by the way.
Okay. And we are joined by Pippa Ponders. Although you probably need no introduction, being one of the pillars of the community, feel free to plug yourself.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Pippa. I'm a trans woman content creator. I mostly write articles about this game. Recently, I released some articles going over the contents of the challenger decks, what's good, bad, etc., as well as a bunch of deck profiles. You can check it out at www.pippathink.com. And thank you very much.
No worries.
I think you forgot your most important achievement there, Pippa, and that is trashing me on stream at the HLC.
Yeah, during the draft. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely bodied me as muscular, but that was fun.
Muscular bodied pretty much everyone. And at the webcam as well, muscular bodied a few people as well. So, moving on to the crux as why I've asked you here, so I'm getting a bit flustered. When Girl Power was announced, me and Richard were doing a talk on it, and we had some thoughts, and then I realised that the opinions of two cis white men on a Girl Power set kind of make no sense. and could have come across quite weirdly. So I went on a little bit of venture asking the female players I know to see if anyone would like to come on. And we've arranged, we got some lovely people on. I really do appreciate you having your time, you giving your time to be here. And just like to ask you straight up, straight away, going into it straight away, what's it like being a female Universus player?
I can start if you want, because my experience is a bit more normal. Being a trans woman, I can still fit in fairly regularly in male-dominated spaces, even though it does cause a bit of a reaction sometimes, especially at big events where people of all different sorts of areas and cultures can interact. And so it's been not the worst for me, but there are certainly there's an energy about it with any almost gender non-conforming person, like just in a public space. I have social anxiety, and so it also impacts not only like people's perception of me, but me trying to pass and present well.
That makes sense. So, do you feel that sometimes you have to, as my partner put it, mask as more masculine to fit in, or are you able to be more yourself in those situations?
I've been working on being more of myself, but sometimes I have to, and it sucks, but it it would help. It helps me ease my anxiety, and it helps, I guess, other people quote unquote accept me. And so that's definitely something I've had to do, though I've been working on just being myself as I should be.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll get more into like UVS and decisions with trans and stuff like that. But let's give Adrian a chance to talk about their experiences as a female UVS player as well.
I've only been to 2 events with more than like 30, 40 players, and both of those events, I didn't really feel any different. Maybe because I knew a lot of the people playing from another card game, and my locals, like I um, I knew most of the people playing anyway. So for me, I didn't really feel like I was treated much differently as a girl,
That, yes,
which is very lucky.
yeah, it makes sense. And also, you got to think about the size of the events as well. Oh, no offense to the Oceanic region, is similar as the EU. We have much smaller events in terms of participation compared to what Pippa's going to be going through with the much larger and more diverse grouping.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, with the smaller community, sort of you get to know most people reasonably quickly, right? Sort of going to certainly to UK nationals, there weren't huge amounts of people that I hadn't sort of met or played or interacted with on a small amount before. But yeah, certainly I can imagine a lot harder in like obviously one of the bigger communities where there's just you might know 20 people in a room of 400. Yeah, I can imagine
Yeah.
that's certainly trickier.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when the US Nationals was also at another card game convention. So not only am I dealing with like the 600 people from the UVS game, but I'm dealing with another 900 people for 2 other card games as well. And so it's just overwhelming the amount of people I'd have to not necessarily interact with, but exist around was a
Yeah.
lot.
And
higher.
just anticipate, because to put it bluntly, it's not the best for people in your like yourself at the moment, especially where we're going for the HLC, which is something I wanted to bring up. How do you feel about Worlds being hosted in Florida, which has got atrocious LGBTQ rights at the minute?
It sucks. It really sucks. And I wish that because we had Worlds in Vegas, and now we had Worlds in Florida, and I would have hoped that they would schedule worlds in a different city, like bring it all around the US, hopefully, because the majority of the audience is here, but potentially around the world. Like, it'd be so cool to have a Worlds in London, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate because we are not only returning to Florida, but as you mentioned, Florida is not the best in terms of acceptance of the queer community. And it blows. I'm not going because I couldn't fit it into my schedule, but even then I would basically have to stick with a pack of friends for the entire trip, which is incredibly stressful.
Yeah, and in not something any person should have to do in America in like 2024, like no matter what they are or their beliefs or what have you, like it's just it's insane. And certainly like there were parts of the UK that are slightly rougher and stuff, but like it's a hard thing for me. So doubly as someone that lives in the UK and doubly as someone as like obviously a cis white male to sort of really understand how that's a thing. Still going on, but obviously it is, and I'm blessed that I don't have to deal with those issues. But yeah, them sort of putting it in Florida twice is awkward to say the least, I guess. And I think obviously, there was a lot of complaints about nationals being in Texas as well, because I think Texas is also not necessarily the most tolerant state either.
Yeah. Texas is not the best. Thankfully, it's been in the more liberal parts of Texas, for parts of it. But that also, it's not as bad as Florida, right? And I didn't have to worry too much, but also I was around friends the entire time.
Yeah, not that I can attest to your experiences, Pippa, but when my partner went to Florida earlier this year, Robin is non-binary, but female assigned at birth, but gearing more towards masculine in their personality, and they were terrified with their friends in Florida the majority of the time, especially the majority of the time stayed with their content creating friends and then went to like the parks, but didn't feel safe going out on the streets of Florida. Unless they had a purpose, they stayed inside.
Yeah, that I haven't been to Florida basically my entire life. And so I wouldn't be able to corroborate any of that, but that kind of sounds par for the course in some parts of America.
It's a shame that this is the world we live in, because it's not just America. There's a lot of parts of the world, and it does suck that people just can't be themselves.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the main reason I asked you two to be here, which is the upcoming My Hero Academia Girl Power set. Hopefully this is a female empowerment set, but what are your initial opinions on the design and the name, and what UVS has said about this upcoming set?
Why? Like, truly, we had like Undaunted Raid, awesome, Jetburn, awesome, and now we're going into like one of the best arcs of the show, the Class 1A versus 1B training arc, right? We can have awesome fights, we can have like the memorable moment of like Bakugo leading his team to victory, and then they just give us this? I'm just so confused on how this happened and got approved and everything.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought was that this might be a way of them trying to string out My Hero, right? Of almost having this as like a filler type, sort of Heroes Clash type set. And then the next set moves on to the more going back to the story of just a way of them spreading out, because obviously they're running out of show content. So maybe this is a way of them trying to spread out the My Hero content longer to keep the My Hero players still invested in the game and obviously milk the most out of this big IP they've got. That might be one way of they're doing it, or maybe they only licensed X number of seasons and they don't have the licenseness maybe to do going forward after the Jetburn arc.
I mean, that I understand that side of it, Richard, but they did print some of the Class 1A versus 1B in the Clash decks, so it does make sense that they would still be able to print them. But Addy, what about yourself? How do you feel about girl power?
I honestly don't know that much about it. The concept does seem sort of unusual. I'm not sure why they've got a set just focused on girl power, and even why it's called girl power. But yeah, maybe it is because they've run out of content from the manga and anime to use, and that's why they're doing it, or to get more female players into the game. But really not sure.
That does make sense. And as Pippa quite rightly said, we are teetering on one of the best arcs with some of the best power awakenings and power scaling for some of Class 1A, and Class 1B gets a lot more introduced, as well as moving on to the I've forgotten their actual name, the Dr. Doofenshmirtz team.
Oh yeah,
The Liberation Society, that's the one.
yeah.
We move on to Liberation Society, which is a huge villain arc, and yeah, this could have been absolutely called My Villain Academia and still done the exact same thing. Part of for me is, again, my opinion, nowhere near as important as your two's, but for me, it reeks of the mass amount of complaints of how poorly written MHA female characters have been. The amount of people that started to complain when the anime came out because they slimmed down and changed characters to match more the male gaze, because I believe Momo was trimmed down, I believe Ochako was trimmed down from their manga counterparts in the show, and a set called Girl Power, when MHA has come under such fire for not having good female representation, doesn't feel like a coincidence to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, my initial thought was just like, we obviously, as an old man who was alive in the 90s, the initial it just kind of goes to Spice Girls, right? My brain can't not do that. So it just felt like a very strange choice of just even the naming. Yeah.
So, Pippa and Addy, what do you not want to see in this set? What are the things that UVS could put in the set which would give you the ick, that would make you not like this set in any way?
If
I
it was,
think. Oh,
you go.
sorry, Pippa, you go first.
No, you go.
Oh, okay. I think for me, if they had the class 1A or others minor like young females, or in like in sexualized poses, or if they just hypersexualize any of the characters that are supposed to be high school students, I think that would give me the ick.
Yeah, both that and also if like it's the just right amount of cheesy, if that makes sense, right? Like it's already become a meme, right? Like it's the quote unquote misogyny set, right? And I really hope that they both play it safe in terms of like what was previously said, but also I hope they don't try to like oversell it or anything like that as well, right? Like I don't want it to be like this is the set for girls, because that kind of be really in poor taste, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I suspect it's going to be quite a tricky line for them to tread, of making it so that it's a good set, B, and sort of lives up to the sort of terminology. And like, I guess like going back to the whole Spice Girls thing, actually the whole kind of thought behind that movement, without it coming across as like, cis white man trying to be girl empowerment, and actually sort of look at it from the other perspective, and actually what females looking at the game would actually want.
Yeah, and as Addy said, if they try to make it a waifu set, if they try to make a set that the entire thing has the waifu tact, which is another meme for cards that have Ochako, Toga, a lot of the cards where the fan base has latched onto them as love attractions, it could lead them down a very down the road of trying to make it a waifu set, and that is something that would be, to put it in the worst possible way, would be very cringe.
Yeah.
So now that we've looked at what you don't want, what would you like to see in the set? What can UVS do to make girl power and empowerment set? So again, as me and Richard keep saying off here, our opinions don't matter in this, but for me, I would love to see more emphasis on the pro heroes and the more mature characters, even bringing in some of the mothers like Mitsuki and Ino, because they are pillars of motherhood in how they handle their children being heroes. And even if it's not as characters, as assets, just as support. But how would you, Pippa and Addy, feel this set could be handled in the best way?
I think what you said, and I think another thing is like, if they move, like, it's not the waifu set, but it's the like really cool girl characters doing cool things, I think that would be like the best angle for it to be like. So like, let's say Momo comes back as a character and all of her support is about like building things to save people or trap villains and stuff like that. Like, her doing cool things instead of her being the focus as like the character, right? Like, I want to see the cool things that they can do, as I've been saying. But yeah, I think that'd be one of the best ways to do it. And as you mentioned, bringing in other like female characters that haven't been featured or not featured very much.
Yeah. How about yourself, Addy?
Yeah, I agree with both of those points. I think having like older characters as well, like Lady Nagant. I can't quite remember her name, but the one who makes the bullets out of her hair.
Oh, she's not been introduced yet. She's not been introduced
Oh,
yet.
she not been.
Yeah, she's
okay.
That's the future.
Wait. Oh, I see. Wait, which season of the anime would this be again?
Well, this is a support set, so it could be future and past.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So it's like just all of the first couple of seasons and all the female characters from there.
Yeah, I imagine they won't go past the main set sort of storyline, so it'll go up until Class 1A versus 1B.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think maybe portraying them like fighting, but fighting in a way that's not revealing like a large portion of their skin would be good. Yeah. So the artwork, I think, would really influence whether I like this set or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I just want Funny Punch Girl to do more funny punch things.
Absolutely. Kendo, please.
There's also a chance for characters who would never see a second character because of what's happened to them so far in the show, or the fact they just don't see as much going forward, to get their second characters, such as Recovery Girl, Magni, the Pussycats. It'd be great to see those girls get their own secondary character cards as well.
Yeah, I think like the best way would be if this set was like a love letter to all the female characters of the show, right?
Yeah.
It's I guess it's just avoiding that kind of, hey, we're a corporation and we're supporting Pride Week. Here's our thing with a rainbow on. Please give us some more money. Kind of approach that just always seems just horrible taste every single year. And it's not just like, yeah, here's we're gonna do this girl power set for all you girls. We just want your money. We don't really care what we're doing about it. And actually, have some thoughts behind what they're doing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You want, rather than 180 cards of cutesy poses and a lot of the stuff that we saw in the other sets, is if we had more cards like Petty Squabble with the art, where it's just Mount Lady and Midnight ripping into each other.
Right? Like, the art is one of the most important parts of the card because it conveys like the personality of the card, right?
Yeah.
And so if they have the set is going to be based a lot around like how the art treats all of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I did see a lot of people saying this is the best chance of Miss Jokes getting a character, and that's going to be a tricky one because her pretty much identity is, I tell jokes, I'm in love with Razorhead.
Yeah, I think like they could have like that's one of the funny parts of her character, right? Like they can play it as a joke where there are some cards where she could interact with the Racerhead, but she also just like can be doing regular superhero things, which is what they should focus on more.
Yeah, how she uses her quirk to diffuse situations and actually how she interacts as a pro hero rather than marry me Aizawa.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think overall it'll be in theory, this shouldn't be a tricky line to cross, I guess. It's just like they need to just have, if they want to make a girl focus set, they call it girl power, and they just have, it's an all female cast doing cool things. They almost don't need to do anything special. They just need to make sure they don't screw it up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you feel about the name? Because I know there was some like mockery and backlash over such an input such a name. How do you guys feel about the name? And if you were going to have a female oriented set, what kind of name would you want it to have?
I don't really like the name. Girl power kind of reminds me of like stuff that 12-year-olds say, and girl just kind of, to me, I think of like there's the high school girls, so there are those characters, but for like Midnight and the teachers, I wouldn't really call them girls, I'd call them more women. Anyway, girls seems kind of like diminutive in a way. So I don't have any ideas for what really it could be called. Another thing that I wanted to add for something that I would like to see in the cards from your last question is if they have the female characters working together in some of the cards. I think that would be quite cool to see. Or like the secret rares or ultra rares being two two female characters on the card. That would be cool.
Yeah, like an Ochako Momo enhanced type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So Crow and Frog takedown, but we replaced the Crow and the Frog with the girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have like Ryuku and Mount Lady just devastate. Oh, you have like Mount Lady throwing a dragon Ryuku.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cool things they can do as if they take that team up mechanic and like we want like teams of people. I think that'd be a really cool way to do it is we know that for Yu Yu Hakusho, all the characters in the Dark Tournament are separated into teams, and it's kind of assumed that all the teams will have synergies within themselves, right? And I
Yeah.
think that could be a really cool direction of dividing like some of the girl heroes into different teams of like 3 or 4 characters that all have interplay and support. I think that'd also be really cool because it'd weave more gameplay mechanics into the actual like thing of like, oh, these characters are a team and work well together.
That's an interesting point I hadn't even thought about, because there are some of the female students who intern under the female pro heroes. So you've got, I think
Exactly.
is it Momo and Kendo who go under Ryuku or Uebami?
They go under Uebami. Ryukyu houses Nejire, Ochako, and Asui. I don't remember any others though.
Yeah. So going under like that kind of guise of, you've got your pro heroes and your teachers, and then you've got the students that are paired up with them, and that's how the set revolves. And it's a lot of collaboration, empowerment, and teamwork as their teams. That's actually a cool way to look at it.
Yeah, I think that would be a very cool and successful direction they could move in for the set design.
How about yourself, Pippa? How do you feel about the name, and do you have any
I
alternatives?
mostly the same. The name is cringe. I don't have anything other to say than like, why? We could have had like, instead of heroic clash, we have heroine clash,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
and that fits in with
That
the
one's really good. Yeah.
and that fits in with the My Hero Academia, my Villain Academia vibe that we'll be getting later on down the line. So yeah,
Yeah. So I this set just baffles me.
yeah,
Yeah, it just, I think it's one of those, it's a set where there's not necessarily a lot for them to gain from it, but there's certainly a lot to lose from it, right? Like, again, I don't have the experience, but certainly the sort of the card game and general sort of nerddom culture is generally female unfriendly, right? As a general rule, I feel like Universus is pretty good compared to a lot of other sort of gaming communities. Again, I don't know how your the experiences of your guys are, but like I feel like we're probably pretty accepting.
We are. The community for this game is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think if anyone was being a shit, they would not be part of the community for very long. And so I don't want this to sort of be a sort of nail in the coffin of driving us into the same world as, say, other car games, which probably are not as friendly and do not have as nice a community.
Yeah. I just want I won't linger on this too long, but Yu-Gi-Oh as a community is famously known for being very unfriendly to women.
yeah. Again, me and Richard can't speak from experience, but just any form of gaming when you're not a cis white man is very, very hard. My partner, going off into a different genre with video games, used to love playing Overwatch, but got to the point where they just couldn't put their mic on, because the moment you have any form of feminine voice in a group chat, you just get bombarded with play healer, don't do this, don't do that, you don't know what you're doing, we lost because of you.
Yeah.
You become the immediate lightning rod for all the toxicity of that chat.
Yeah, it really sucks as someone who is also big in video game spaces that so many communities are that hostile to women. And honestly, that is one of the reasons I can't play any games with voice comms.
Yeah, it's horrid, and I obviously I have no idea what the answer is, and I just hope this set doesn't sort of make things worse. I don't know whether there's any capability of it making anything better. And like, if it does sort of encourage more ladies or young girls or whatever to get involved in the game, then great. And hopefully they will find that the community is very open and accepting, and they can have a lot of fun with it. I just hope that that UVS games don't step on the rake with this one, and we do get a cringe set that not only doesn't necessarily bring any in, but also makes the the female players playing our current game not necessarily want to anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one they really need to get right, and I hope they understand that the responsibility they sort of give themselves by titling something like this, and sort of the aim, the sort of aim of this product to do this all female set, and it's like, okay, well, you've got to nail it.
I mean, you said it before with the people with the name just being cringe, and the entire color scheme being more, to put it in basic terms, being a lot more feminine presenting as well, with the pinks and the purples and the very light colors. It does feel like, as Rich said, they've got a lot to lose on this set if they handles poorly, and not a lot to gain. Luckily, as we've said throughout this, we have a great community here, but we do still have that tiny part of the community which isn't great, and will absolutely jump at any thing UVS does wrong and hammer it into the ground.
Yeah. The community as a whole, as the last few years haven't done the best favors in terms of the company's reputation. And so a lot of people are very critical of them. And I think that sometimes it's fair and warranted, such as here, but sometimes it's not as well. And some people really like to make mountains out of molehills.
I'll jump on that grenade. I have made a lot of mountains into molehills when it came to stuff UVS has done, but I was also just advocating for the EU players and sometimes the Oceanic players when I felt we were getting the raw end of the deal.
Yeah, for sure. You guys have... It is very difficult to exist in this game outside of the US, and so you guys doing it outside of US, it's phenomenal. It makes me so happy to see that more communities of the card game can blossom up around the world.
I am really upset I only found this game with MHA. I really wish I'd found this game back when I started Magic and stuff.
Absolutely.
It's such a good game. Well, speaking of other communities which don't have the best representation, we're moving into two massive IPs being brought into the game with Critical Role and Attack on Titan. Now, as far as I know, Critical Role people pretty chill as long as you don't hurt Critical Role, but Attack on Titan fans, not the most chill people in the world. How do you feel about this massive influx of games coming in, and the chances of us ending up a lot more mainstream with our community, like, as Pippa said, Yu-Gi-Oh?
I guess I can... You can go if you'd like.
Oh, that's okay. You go, Pippa. I'll go after you.
Okay. I think Critical Role, as a fan of Critical Role, I'm very excited. The community is pretty chill. And I'm personally very excited as at the addition of this IP, because I'm a huge fan. Jester is one of my favorite characters of any fiction. And so I'm excited. Attack on Titan is complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Interrupting. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. I don't know much about Critical Role. I like Attack on Titan, the anime. I think I've got one season left to go. I think there are a lot of like strong female characters in Attack on Titan, so I'm looking forward to having that set brought in. I'm hoping that it'll make more people want to start playing the game because they like these IPs, especially in New Zealand where we don't have that big of a community compared to overseas. But yeah, I don't know. I hope that it doesn't end up like Yu-Gi-Oh or other card games that don't welcome female and like non-binary people playing. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I've seen a couple of seasons of Attack on Titan, and I'm very happy, excited to see Sasha brought into the game. And I hope all of her cards are potato related. I don't care about anything else. I think that'd be really cool. I've not seen much Critical Role. I have seen the Vox Machina Prime series and whatever clips that TikTok throw my way. The most recent one was one of the characters was replaced with a small child who they were role playing. He'd been cursed, and he had to wear a special meteorite, and it was all a massive ad for a watch company that they was sponsoring them.
What?
Yeah, so like, if I think of the scene, is like the guy is free in, and he's wearing a blue suit, and he's talking with Matt, and he's like, "Oh, what's happened to you?" He's like,
You know,
I reverse bigged myself, and I'm a small child inside where a rare meteor." He's like, "You're still gonna do the forum ad," and he's like talking about these watches, and then Matt throws him. He talks about a meteorite watch, and Matt throws him the watch. And goes, "Oh, maybe that'll help you curse." And then this like special effects goes off, and he's replaced with the actual like person. It's like, okay, I actually need to go and watch these because I used to watch the like loading ready run D&D videos, which are really cool, and I probably need to go find Critical Role and actually start that.
so I can explain this. That was probably Sam Riegel.
Yes.
He is known legendarily as the person who shills for their sponsors. And so he started doing bits for each of their sponsor videos. So there's a NordVPN whole saga and storyline, and that was probably him during one of his bits.
That makes sense. It felt like the Tom Scash Surfshark ads that he does in his, and how he's
Yeah.
progressively makes them more like just fire me because these are so weird.
Right? Yeah.
But I think we've covered a lot, and this is a very heavy topic, so I won't keep you guys around too long. Richard, have you got any questions?
No, Liza, obviously, I don't have too much from a personal perspective to add. Obviously, thanks so much for joining us. Really, really appreciated. I guess before we go, just if there's anything else you guys wanted to sort of chat about, just the sort of, latest decks you've been playing, how locals are going.
What Yu Hong's going to play at the HLC, so some of us are prepared.
Yeah. Not too much going on. I'm just very excited for Yu Yu Hakusho for several reasons.
I have a box of the first set that arrived today, and I think I'm going after this is all. I'm going to just carry on streaming and just open it because apparently there's some really cool stuff in it.
Sick. That'll be fun.
Do you want to plug the article website one more time?
Oh, yeah. It would be at www.pippathink.com. As I mentioned, I went over reviewing all of the cards in the recent Challenger decks, as well as a bunch of deck lists for all of the characters. So go check it out, and thanks.
Of the four Challenger characters, who's your favorite? Just well, we got you.
I haven't play tested a ton of them, but I would probably say Vash actually.
Ooh.
I didn't think about his draw ability feeling that impactful, but it really does. Every time you can draw 3 cards at one time, my brain lights up and I get the dopamine. And so I've been playing him on life because if you hit with a meteor shower, you can always pitch a foundation card to grab that meteor shower to then pitch for your character to draw 3, and it's been so much fun.
And then put your momentum, put the meteor shower into the momentum. Yeah.
That's it. I was doing that the other way with Faye. So I was playing Meteor Shower, ditching a momentum to go get a Meteor Shower, hitting with the Meteor Shower, picking up the momentum,
Yeah.
and just having a handful of attacks.
Yeah. I'm very sad Meteor Shower's rotating. One of the coolest cards.
Hopefully we'll get something cool like that in Yu Hakusho. But who knows when that we're going to start seeing those cards. Hopefully soon. And Addy, any final thoughts from yourself?
I think another thing that I wanted to add, and I'm not sure if UVS already does this or not, but if they have a place for pronouns when you submit your deck list so that the people doing the commentating can use your correct pronouns. Do they have that?
They don't.
I don't believe so, but that would be sick.
That'd be really cool.
Yes.
Or they could just, as they do with me, just refer to me by Dabby every single time. Or go with the safe option of they, them. Because there's always...
Yeah, I mean, again, it's 2024. Like, if they don't have, like, on your... Again, I don't remember what's on there, like, you know, when you're filling out a profile, but if they don't have, like, a preferred pronoun or anything like that on there, they probably should.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you? It's sort of, you know, the overhead compared to making your company inclusive is nothing.
But yeah, huge thank you for you guys being here and talking through your experiences, talking about what you're expecting to go on here. And I look forward to... Unfortunately, I won't be seeing you in 3 weeks, Pippa, unfortunately, but well, hopefully I can qualify for a third time and see you next year.
Yeah.
And
I'd love to see you.
I don't think... yeah, we met up last year. I do remember meeting you last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll see you in 3 weeks as well, Addy.
Yes.
Yes.
Looking forward to it. I'll see you in 3 weeks.
As Young filled out the Google form we got today.
No, he's still asleep.
We're going back to
one out. Yeah.
So we're going back to the same restaurant we went to last year with the Wagyu beef, and I'm so hyped for that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the whole reason I was happy to qualify for the HLC again. The entire time I was like, I don't want to go to Florida, but I want the Wagyu beef.
Yeah. I will tell him to fill it out today.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us. We'll end it there, and hope you guys have a great time with the challenge decks and Yu Hakusho next month.
Thank you for inviting me, Brett.
No worries. Great to have you in here. It's a great way to repay you for all the Nats training you helped me with.
Thank you.
No
See ya.
worries. See ya.